My name is Brooke Yates, and I'm going to be analyzing my copyright lesson using the Assure model. Analyze learners, general characteristics. The students in 5th grade at Zilker Elementary are between 9 and 11 years old. The group is equally mixed in gender. Most students fall into the middle to upper class socioeconomically, with a small group of lower income students. Due to the higher socioeconomic status, the group as a whole is technologically savvy and experienced with using a variety of devices and online resources. The majority of students are average learners, but there are some gifted and talented learners, as well as students with learning disabilities. Ethnically, this group consists of about 60% European American, about 30% Latinx, about 5% African American, with the other 5% being Asian American or 2 or more races. Entry competencies. The students are able to perform internet searches. Students can proficiently use Canvas to complete and upload work. Students are able to use the Google Drive to complete and share documents and slideshows. And the students have experience using Web 2.0 tools such as Padlet, Seesaw, and Flipgrid. Learning differences and needs of students. Students learn best when working collaboratively with peers on learning tasks. Grouping students by mixed abilities allows academically higher students to support the learning of lower ability students. Students are highly engaged with tasks that involve creativity and technology. State standards and objectives. Curriculum standards from the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills. Knowledge and Skills Statement 3-5.5 says, the students practice safe, responsible, legal, and ethical behavior while using digital tools and resources. Students are expected to B. Respect the intellectual property of others, and C. Abide by copyright law and fair use guidelines for educational multimedia. AASL standards B61 and B62. It states learners use valid information and reasoned conclusions to make ethical decisions in the creation of knowledge by 1. Ethically using and reproducing others' work, and 2. Acknowledging authorship and demonstrating respect for the intellectual property of others. ISTE Standard 2 states students recognize the rights, responsibilities, and opportunities of living, learning, and working in an interconnected digital world, and they act and model in ways that are safe, legal, and ethical. Standard 2C states students demonstrate an understanding of and respect for the rights and obligations of using and sharing intellectual property. Select strategies and resources. Select strategies. The lesson will begin with the whole group comprehensive Prezi presentation. The librarian-led presentation will focus on copyright laws and fair use guidelines. After the presentation, students will be placed into mixed ability groups of 3, and groups will respond to a class discussion by posting to a Padlet with either a comment, a question, or a wondering. Groups will then demonstrate their knowledge of copyright laws by working collaboratively on a web-based multimedia research project using Google Slides. Select resources. Alignment with standards, outcomes, and objectives. Standards and objectives are supported by the use of library technology devices, Web 2.0 tools, and multimedia presentations. Accurate and current information. Students will use current and credible online websites to collect information to complete a multimedia research project. Age-appropriate language. Language used in the copyright presentation is appropriate for a 5th grade audience, and key terms are explained as simply and clearly as possible. Interest level and engagement. Students are highly engaged in collaborative and creative tasks involving technology. The Padlet discussion and web-based research projects support high levels of interest and engagement. Technical quality. Library technology devices are up to date and function well, and the internet is fast and reliable. Ease of use. Students are familiar with performing internet searches on computers and iPads. They are familiar with using Web 2.0 tools such as Padlet, Google Docs, and Google Slides. Bias-free. All resources and Web 2.0 tools used are bias-free. User guide and directions. These are provided through Padlet and Google. Select materials. Students have the opportunity to interact with selected materials, including Prezi, Padlet, and Google Slides. These Web 2.0 tools are interesting and engaging while allowing students to be collaborative and creative. Utilize resources. Preview resources. All resources will be previewed to ensure the materials being used are easily accessible, age-appropriate, and bias-free. Prepare resources. The librarian will ensure that the copyright Prezi is open and connected to a projector and audio source. The librarian will confirm the Padlet is set up with a shareable link for students. The librarian will make sure to have student Google login information ready and available, and that all devices are fully charged. Prepare the environment. Chairs and tables will be set up so that students may sit with their groups to watch the presentation, then begin their group work. Students will have devices and Google login information readily available. Prepare the learners. Learners will not need any special preparation for this lesson. The copyright Prezi and their entry competencies will be sufficient to meet the objective of the lesson. Provide the learning experience. This is a three-part learning experience consisting of a whole group direct teach presentation, a digital class discussion on Padlet, and a group multimedia research project on Google Slides. Require learner participation. Student practice activities. Students use their previously acquired digital literacy skills and experience with online searches to support their learning coming into this lesson. Learner participation is required throughout the second and third parts of the lesson. When responding to the class Padlet discussion, students may reflect on their understanding of the information presented or post questions to clarify information shared. This class discussion will serve as an ongoing resource throughout the lesson, and students may refer back to it as needed for guidance from peers. Students will then work collaboratively to create a Google slideshow using internet sources to find text, videos, images, and audio materials to include while implementing fair use guidelines or public domain to demonstrate their understanding of copyright concepts. Feedback. Students are given feedback throughout this lesson. The teacher and librarian will rotate between groups to check for understanding and clarify misconceptions. Additionally, students are encouraged to give feedback and advice from peers through the class discussion on the Padlet as needed. Evaluate and revise. Assessment of learner achievement. The librarian will review the class discussion Padlet to discover and address any misconceptions in order to guide her future instruction on copyright concepts. Understanding of copyright concepts will be assessed through the use of a rubric to gauge if the Google Slides created demonstrate an understanding of the skills presented throughout the lesson. Evaluation of strategies and resources. The librarian evaluates the strategies and resources used by eliciting feedback from students through an exit ticket. Students will have an opportunity to reflect on the presentation as well as the Web 2.0 tools used for this activity. Student feedback on the effectiveness and ease of use of these materials will be beneficial in planning future copyright lessons. Revision. Based on any misunderstandings identified through the Padlet discussion, student feedback, and demonstration of skills on the rubric, the librarian can revise this lesson to better address any areas of misconception and better support student acquisition of these skills. Thank you very much.